Hello. Hello, how are you?
Okay, we'll see. It's before map up. Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
There we go. There we go. Okay. I had my volume down.
All right, there we are. So how are you?
Good.
Good. It's always good to hear.
Yeah, very busy, but good. Yeah.
Yeah. So listen, Eric, thank you very much for giving us a bit of your time to talk about your business. So I think we'll just get straight into it, if that's okay, because I know you're a busy guy, and it is always nice to be busy. So I think just for the people who are going to be watching this, right? You've been we've known each other for coming up a year, probably now. I think, isn't it? Almost a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just give us a little bit, just introduce yourself, a little bit about your background, about your business, and where you were a year ago, where you are now, and.
Yeah. I started my business in 2015, spring of 2015, and it was just me in the truck doing service calls, and got busy from there. Hired people. When we met last year, I was doing okay, but not growing as much as I should, or I wasn't looking at things probably the way I should have. Certainly not making any money. So. Well, a little bit, but not what we should have been. So now the growth is, at this point it's mind-boggling, put it that way. So we're doubled for sure over the same period last year.
So you've added $1 million.
That would be, we're on track to do that for sure.
Have you actually said that out loud? Have you? Is that sunk in or not?
It's the first time I say it out loud for sure. I guess because I look at the months more than I do the year.
Yeah.
So, right now we're, I had said we did I think it was 250 I said we made last month, but my wife hadn't put all the billing in yet. Sorry, my phone's ringing. We actually did just over 300. So
right, wow.
We're on track to do that again. So, if not more.
So what do you think you'll end the year on?
This fiscal year, probably a little over 3.5. I'm thinking.
Wow.
Yeah.
3.5 million.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You can smile when you say that.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting. It comes with some other challenges as well, but it's definitely exciting. We're doing really well, so I can't complain.
So what I'm interested in is, and I think what other people will be interested in is, your growth, as you've said, has been a bit mind-boggling. So just talk to us a little bit about that journey from a business owner's point of view, kind of I suppose the pain and the pleasure, and just what are the highs and lows. What would you say that you've learned from it?
The biggest single lesson I think is taking the training with you guys was there's no magic bullet. I was looking for that magic bullet. I was looking for that formula that, Eric, this is what you have to do to make it work. You have to put in the work. I think that's, and I've been doing it all along, but I think I just been doing it unconsciously. But once it became more conscious that I have to put the work in to get the results, and the results speak for themselves because of that. That's probably one of the biggest lessons I've learned.
Right. So when you say you have to put the work in, you were already working though hard. So what do you mean?
Well, putting in the work as in order for me to grow the business, I had to put in the work and the effort to basically remove myself from the field. I found that extremely difficult. And once I did, and then I was able to hire people and get them to do the tasks that, I can still do, but weren't giving me the return on investment that I needed, and certainly the growth that I needed. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So that expression, I needed to remove myself from the field, and I found that really difficult. What was difficult about that? You letting go of your baby, which is your business, or or trusting other people. What was difficult about it, and then how did you overcome that?
Trusting other people, to do the right thing in the field. I know that I would, but definitely trusting them. I think that was the biggest hurdle I had to overcome. The other thing that happened with growth is I've all of a sudden found myself able to attract better people. When I first started out, finding good people was very difficult. We were a new business. People who had any kind of substance wouldn't really trust us. So I did go through early on some unsavory characters, right? But now we're attracting
very, very well put.
Yeah, now we're attracting some high quality people. I just hired a service tech yesterday. 3 years experience. He worked at another business I looked at, and some of the Google reviews have his name on them.
Wow.
I was lucky enough a month ago to hire a technician with many years experience who I've known for 25 years. So he's finally decided to join us, and that's really allowed me to even further work on the business.
Right. So, wow. That must feel good to be able to attract talent like that.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the trusting other people is interesting. So what was the key for you? Was it just, I know you said you went through some unsavory characters.
Yes.
So presumably you went through, or did you go through unsavory characters and at some point think, I'm never going to be able to let this go? What was the turning point for you? How did you get to actually trust other people? What was it? Just the right hire?
The right hire. I think we reached a certain point in the business that we started attracting those right hires. I think that was the critical point. I'm not sure exactly when it happened, but probably when we hit around the $1 million mark, I would say, where we had enough people, enough presence in the community that people started going, oh, we got to take these guys seriously.
Yeah.
Right. So because there's locally, and I'm sure the HVAC industry is familiar with this, there's a lot of companies that pop up and they're like a flash in the pan and then they're gone. So a lot of people are wary of that. So, but after you've got 2 or 3 years under your belt and you've got more trucks and your Google reviews are good and you get good feedback from the field, now people, technicians or people that have, they're a little better quality will think about joining you, whereas a year before they wouldn't. Right?
Right.
For them, moving from one company to another is a big deal.
Yes, because
you want to know that I've got a future there, right?
Yes. So that was something else I was going to talk to you about, is when you grow and you start trusting other people, then the risk increases and
Yes.
the responsibility increases on you, on your
Yes.
broad shoulders. So how have you managed that? How's that? Just talk to me about how you feel about that, and were you wary of it? Does it keep you awake at night? Like, where are you at with that?
Well, it keeps me awake at night. I wake up in the middle of the night lots of times thinking about it, and I think I'm at the point now where I trust the team that I have. They do the right thing. What's been keeping me up at night recently is just the sheer amount of work we have, and how am I going to do it? Right. Do I hire more people? Do I add more trucks? And what's that going to look like? And you know what I mean? So that's where we're at right now. So
I know that we've had a chat about where you want to be and designing your business. And I did a little video, actually, 80-20, your business is a good way to think about it.
Yes.
So I've lost so when you say it keeps you up at night because you're so busy, you're not worried about meeting payroll. You're not worried about, feeding the families of the people who've trusted you to prove, with their time through employing them. You're worried about how you're going to manage the customers that want to work with you. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So just
the money in the bank account right now is not an issue. Cash flow is good. We're doing really well in that department.
Right.
So yeah, no, it's more okay, who am I going to send where and who's going to do what? You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So, what was there anything else that you've struggled with the growth? Something, anything unexpected that you've struggled with as you've grown, that you didn't see it coming, and then when it did, you were like, oh well.
Yeah, well, the one of the biggest catalysts was certainly, learning that there is no magic bullet. You have to put the work in. The second one was answering the phones. I think that's probably, if I were to rank them, that's number 2 or 3 as far as what's caused us to grow so much.
Right.
And what's taken me by surprise is just the sheer amount of work that came. That took me by surprise.
So just talk to me about that, because answering the phone, when we talk about it in our training, when we talk about it to people, they look at you as if to say, what?
Yeah.
So, and it's dismissed. So just share how important that was for you and your business.
It was key. It was absolutely key. The phone was already ringing, and I've heard many people say, I need more calls. I need more calls. And I was certainly that person saying that. Turns out I didn't need more calls. The calls were already there. We were just doing a very poor job of, and when I say answering the phone, I mean converting. So, it's one thing to answer the phone, but it's another to convert that to an actual call on the board. So that's when I say answering the phone, that's what I mean is, in other words, Mrs. Smith calls, we convert that to an actual call where we have a technician go and do the call and turn that into either a service call or a lead, and that's been a major catalyst for our growth.
Yeah. Wow. And it was there already.
It was there already. Now, I don't know if every market is the same. It almost creates a snowball effect, because now you're out there, you're doing work. So word of mouth spreads, you know what I mean? We certainly do marketing as well, but just that presence in the community and the fact that we're doing good work just creates more. Like if you do a service call for Mrs. Smith, her neighbor asks, who do you recommend? They call us. So you won't get that if you're not out there.
No.
Right. So,
yeah.
The phone may not have been ringing off the hook, but I certainly looked at it when it did ring, that it was important.
Yes.
So, and we treat it that way even now, even when the phone is ringing, we're to the point where all 3 of us are on the line. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Splendid. So just what's been nice? What's been nice about your growth? So we've talked about things that have surprised you and stuff. So what's been the nicest thing, the experience of the growth that you've had?
Putting a team together that we enjoy each other's company, the camaraderie and the culture that we have has been a nice surprise. Having some money in the bank account has been a really nice surprise, because the first years it was tight, so that's the biggest surprise. Just opportunities that come our way now. Those are other surprises that a lot of times you're thinking, oh, what am I going to be doing tomorrow? What am I going to be doing next week? But there's always another opportunity that just comes up. So,
what do you mean by opportunity, Eric?
The phone rings. The phone rings. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how many times we didn't have work for the next day, and then the phone rings, and we have work for the next day or 3 days.
Yes.
So that's actually been a nice surprise, knowing that. I guess I had the mindset of, and if you have a certain amount of money in a bank account, you think that's it, it's static, but it's not, because you're always going to have more work coming down the pipe. As long as you do good work, you'll always have work coming towards you, and that's been my experience. And more and more, more and more of it.
Yes. So
yeah,
an interesting word you used was culture. You've been able to build a culture in your business that you enjoy.
Yes.
How did that come about? Do you give that some thought, or is that just something that's evolved, or how have you arrived at that? Because culture is a really massive thing.
It is, and we're always working to improve it. Better people, certainly. With like I said, originally early on, we had some unsavory characters, and a lot of those characters would be bad for morale, bad for culture. So we've got a team now that there's a good group of people, and the attitude is very upbeat. So that would be my take on that.
Okay. Just personally for you, are you working more or are you working less now that you've doubled your business?
Less.
Right.
Well, it depends what your definition of work is. But I go home at 5 o'clock, and we close the doors. We go home at 5 o'clock. We have our evenings with the family. In the mornings, I'm able to drop my girls off at the bus. So I really enjoy that. So I would say probably less. But the lesson of the magic bullets kind of helped me as well, because I know I have to put the work in. So when I'm here, I just put the work in.
So the magic bullet thing is interesting. So we talk a lot about what you're either working in your business or on your business.
Yes.
So it strikes me that you're now working on your business, really, rather than in your business. What's been the biggest, what would you say to somebody that was in your shoes a year ago, right? And then now, what have you been focusing on in the last year?
First of all, don't be afraid to hire people. If you're going to grow, you need to hire people, and you're going to go through some that are not good. You're gonna find some that are very good. But if you want to grow your business, you have to hire people. You have to trust them, like you said, which was probably the hardest thing I had to do. But we also follow up with them. They have to submit their paperwork, and we're working on that. That's not perfect by any means, but they have forms they fill out. They have readings they have to take. So now when one of my technicians does a call or a crew does an installation, we have the paperwork to back it up to know that, okay, they checked all those points. So, and then they do that on a regular basis, and that creates trust between me and them, and they trust me as well. So that's been essentially it as far as that's concerned. Working on versus working in is kind of it's a fine line. You know what I mean? So I try to dedicate times for that. So in the morning, it's hard to work on when everything is kind of chaotic and the phone is busy. You know what I mean? But now in the afternoon, it's 1:30 here. I have more time for working on versus in. So I kind of do a morning afternoon kind of thing.
Right. So what do you look at then when you're working on the business?
Like how we do things on a regular basis. Pricing, certainly. That's a big one. How are our margins looking? Our marketing, following up with Google, how we're doing for, how our pages performing, how many calls we're getting, that sort of thing. The list can go on from there. Forms, making sure our forms are where we need to be, making sure that they're filling them out, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. And what about the future then? What's the future for Boats?
What's the future? I'd like to, my next thing is figuring out growth as far as demographics go. Like, what can we get to, based on how many households are in the city, that kind of thing. From there, I just want to get to a level where the business is working. I'm still going to be involved, but I'd like to be able to go at 2 o'clock and say to a friend of mine, let's go golfing, and then the sky's not going to fall. We're not there yet, but the sky won't fall if I'm not there. But it's certainly, when I come back, I'll have a slew of emails and phone calls to return. So that's what the future looks like for me, or for Boarts rather. And then to be able to do that for, 10 years and see what that brings.
So were you apprehensive of growing big before you grew big, or were you always thinking, I want to grow big? Where were you?
I always thought I wanted to grow big.
Right. Okay.
And the reason being is I've got friends of mine. I've been in the trade in this city for 30 years. So I've got friends of mine that ran small businesses, 1 or 2 trucks, or I've actually got one right now that's a 1 truck operation. I've known him forever. After 20 years, he's separated or divorcing his wife. He's giving everything up, and he's got nothing to show for it, like zero. I'm actually buying one of his trucks for what he owes on it. So I guess that's my motivation. I didn't want to be that. You know what I mean? Why would you work 20 years at something to have nothing to show for it?
Yes.
That's, and he tried to sell his business to me, but, out of respect, I didn't, but out of respect, I didn't say that to him, but he's really got nothing to sell. That was my motivation to grow big. Also seeing others kind of do it as well. Part of these groups, you see others doing really well and growing. I wanted that as well. Okay. And I don't want to be a slave to it 60 hours a week. I've done that, so I'm not interested.
Yeah. And you can see that you could double again and be working less. Yes.
Actually, you work less the more you grow, for sure, because then you trust people to do things for you.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Okay. And anything else you want to talk about around? So, if I'm in your position, so if I'm, teetering on the edge of $1 million and I'm thinking, right, what am I going to do next year? What advice would you say? I mean, you said hire people and no silver bullet. I mean, is that largely your mantra, or is anything else that you've not covered?
Hire a coach. Hire a coach. That's critical. You don't know everything. And if you do, then you're in trouble. Yeah. So hire a coach such as yourselves would be highly recommended. I think that's key. Even people at the highest level have coaches. Yes. Nobody's ever done it alone. So, and what I liked about you guys is the kind of the unbiased view, and politely calling me out on my BS as well. I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, that might be interesting. I'd be interested to hear that. Could you just give us a little bit of feedback then about what's it been like working with us and going through the program? How have you found that?
I found it, I can only take it in small bits because there's a lot of information to go through. But at the end of the day, the information is there. So the feedback on you guys is great. Follow the program, do the work. You won't. That's my thoughts on that. So.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, congratulations on your growth. That's absolutely awesome. I'm really thrilled to bits for you. I genuinely am.
Appreciate that.
And thank you for giving us some time today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. So thank you very much. Now, the other thing is we do a coaching call, aren't we? I don't know if that's something you still wanted to do. I don't know if you want to schedule that now.
Sure.
So when would be good for you? I'm a bit booked out now, but
next week or the week after, whatever works for you.
I mean, if you want to, we can do same time next week.
Sure.
That's Tuesday. Yeah, we could do that. So, all right.
Tuesday at 1:00 my time.
Yeah.
What time is it there?
It is 6:30 now. In the evening.
Okay. Yeah. You're ahead of me. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm 5 hours ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay, well, listen, I'm really grateful. Thank you so much for giving us your time. And I'm just double check. Are you happy for us to share this conversation? Okay.
Sure.
All right. Okay, well, keep smiling. Thanks again, and I'll talk to you very soon.
All right.
Okay, thanks, everybody. Bye.